Hello, welcome again. Can we live without our wants? Our wants. Now, when you talk about wants and needs, can we actually do without our wants? Now, of course, yes, we can do without our wants. Now, wants are those things that actually aids to the quality of our lives. It helps to make our life more better. So they are really not necessary. So there's some things that, I need a car, I need this, and all of that. So we can actually do without them because they are not the sole survivor thing or needs that we have to get to or to survive. Now, just as we have our needs and wants, they are two different things. So we can actually live without our wants because needs are the things we need for survival. Wants are those things that help us get good quality of life. Now, good. So we're going to be looking at a very interesting topic today. But let's look at some specific objectives, some things that you're going to be getting familiarized in the course of this study. Now, the first thing you would know in the course of this study is you'll be able to define family needs and resources. You'll be able to define family needs and resources, what family needs are, and then the resources in which the family uses in getting what the family needs. Now, also, you should be able to explain the different types of needs and resources. You'll be able to explain, we have different types of needs when it comes to the family. So you'll be able to explain them and the different resources. And also you'll be able to state the characteristics of the different resources that we have. So we are looking at family needs, goals, and standards. Family needs, goals, and standards. Now, family members need certain things to live, such as food, clothes, shelter, medical health care, education, comfort, etc., and a whole lot of these things. They need all of these things to do what? To live healthy. Every family craves for these things, and then they are all classified under needs, and which can be referred to as basic and the primary needs. Now let's look at family needs. Now, when you talk about family needs, these are the things that are very essential. They're very important. We cannot do without them. If you don't have them, they actually mean the things that aid our survival. They're very, very important. Now, basic needs has to do with shelter. You need shelter. You need where to stay. Where you can live in. And also you need water. Water is very important. These are the basic needs. You need water, and then you need food. Food is very important. So it is very essential to the family. They're very essential and they're very important for our health. Now, family members have need for physical needs, social needs, mental and emotional needs. Now, all these are the things that family needs. Now, let's look at the types of needs. Now, the needs that are peculiar to the family. Now, we said the basic or primary needs. Basic, when something is basic, that means something that is necessary, something that is important. Now, basic or primary needs are very, very important to the family. The family cannot do without them. They cannot do without them. Can you do without food? Can you do without water? Can you do without clothing, wearing clothes? And then when we're sick, would you just stay and not take anything? And then, of course, that can actually lead to that. So the family needs these things because they are basic and they are the primary needs of the family. Now, which is food, housing, clothing, and healthcare. So these are the things that are very basic and very necessary for every family. Now, the other type of need that we have here is the secondary need. The secondary need. Now, these are those things that the family wants. Now, before we proceed, I asked you a question earlier, if you can actually live without your wants. Now, I want to differentiate what wants and needs are. Now, like we have seen earlier, needs are very, very important and essential to us. Now, what the family needs is different from what what the family need and what the family want is different. Now the needs and wants are quite different. If family needs the basic things to do or to live, to survive, such as water and all of that. Now when the family wants can be that they want to go on a vacation, they need a car. Meanwhile, they can actually do without this. If you don't have a car, you won't die, isn't it? If you don't have to go on a vacation, you won't die, you still live. But if the needs are not met, of course, it will cause a lot more havoc than the wants. Now, let's come back to our second myth. I'm sure you've gotten that. Now, these are those things the family wants. They are not as important as the primary needs. The family can therefore exist without them. They can do without them. Is that they are there or they are not there? What they do is to help make life more better, to give you the minimum comfort that you need to live a comfortable life. These are what the secondary needs does. Now, these needs depend on the socio-economic status of the family. If the family has the money to actually meet the primary and basic needs, beautiful. And also the family can actually meet the secondary needs alongside the primary and basic needs. It's okay. So now it depends on the socio-economic status of the family. If the family is a high income earning family, you can actually marry both together. It's not a problem. But for a family that's just trying to do to survive, you cannot be thinking about secondary needs and leaving out the basic or primary needs, which is essential to you as a family. Now, these secondary needs to a family they can actually do with it is recreation. You can decide to say, okay, we're having a vacation after school is almost wrapping up. You say, okay, this holiday we're going to Miami, we're going to Paris, we're going to Disneyland and all of that, to just go and relax. You've stressed a lot in school and all of that. You just need vacation. Now, these are secondary needs. Now, family car, extra clothing. You already have clothing, but you crave for more clothes. You want to look more fashionable and all of that. All these are secondary needs. Personal allowance, pocket money, and all of that. All these are secondary needs that if they are not there, we can just move on and act like they are not, like they are there, and then we move on. So all of these are secondary needs. And don't forget, it depends on the economic status of the family. Okay, so if you can afford it, it's good. It's also important for the family. It makes life very colorful, beautiful, and wonderful. Now, let's look at family resources. Now, resources are those things which the family can use to meet the needs and reach their goals. Now, family has needs, they have goals in which they want to achieve. Now, a family would just they would put targets and goals to what they want to achieve. We want to do this, we want to do that. So now the resource you have helps you to do to meet those needs and to actually achieve your goals that you have as a family. Now we have different types of resources that we're going to be looking at. Now let's look at goals. Goals are aims, objectives, ends, or things that individuals or families are willing to work for or achieve. Now, are you willing to work for these things you want to achieve or things you want to get? You aim, the objectives, things that you have plans to do. Now, it is very important to plan, to put certain things in place to actually achieve this. When you have goals, you don't just say, okay, this is my goal, and you go to sleep and then you forget about it and you wake up one day and say, oh, what is happening here? Now, we talked about smart goals. Now, when you're setting goals, you don't just set goals. You need to set smart goals. Goals that are specific, that are measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Now, smart goals are the in thing. So when you're setting goals up as a family, you need to say, this is how we want to do it. You must be specific. You must say how, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, we should be able to do this. We should have been able to do this. It should be measurable, something that you can say, by this time, these are the things we'll use in achieving this. These are the things we can use to do this. Achievable, realistic, not something you just daydream and it's not visible. And you must associate what time to every goal you actually set to what achieve. Now let's move on and look at the types of goals that we have. Yes, we have different types of goals. Now we have the short-term goals. Short-term goals, just as the name says, short-term goals. Now they do not take time to do what? To achieve. You set them and immediately you're doing them. Okay, now this could be that as a student you need to increase your grade. Maybe you ain't doing so well. Oh, by this exam, no, this next exam, I'm going to try and do well. I'm going to try and read and actually make sure I come up with good grades. Now these are short-term goals. Now you can say, oh, I need to complete all my assignments. They've been giving me assignments and I've just been keeping them. I need to complete all my assignments and still have time to do what? To relax, because it's very important as students to have time to do what? To relax. So you can actually set a short-term goal to say, okay, I'm going to get through my assignments and then I'm going to have time to relax and then do some other things rather than piling up every time I'm working, I'm doing my assignment and I don't have time because you didn't actually set a time frame to your goals. Now another one is the immediate goals. Now immediate goals are achievable, like you can realize them just as they are being set. You can do it immediately. That's okay. I want to set a table, and immediately you're setting the table. I want to make a bed, and then you're making the bed. Immediately, I want to cook rice, and immediately you're cooking the rice. So immediate goals are those things you say, oh, as I go home today, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to wash my dirty clothes. I'm going to clean the house. And immediately you get to the house, you're doing this. Immediately you set these goals, they are as good as done. Now those are immediate goals. Now we have this one, which is called the long-term goals. Now this one takes a long time. It takes quite a long time. Now the family can actually have big goals. Now the individual too can actually have big goals. You can say, oh, for the parent or for the family can say, okay, by this time next year, by this, we want the children to go abroad for their study. As a family, they go abroad for their study and all of that. But for you as a student, now you can actually set up long-term goals. You might be in secondary school now. You say, oh, by the time I get to the university, I think I want to be having a 3.0 GPA or 4 points. Now, these are long-term goals. You can say, oh, I need to study abroad for a year, maybe do my master's or PhD and all of that. Maybe I need to get an internship, and you plan towards it. These are long-term goals. They take a longer period of time to do what? To realize. So you need to plan towards it. And don't forget, I said when you're planning, your goals have to be smart. You don't just set up goals. They need to be smart. So these long-term goals, it could be for a year, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years down and still moving or looking forward. Now these goals take longer time to do what? To achieve. Now, let's look at standards. When you talk about goals, standards, if you do not have standards, there's no way you'll be achieving your goal. Now we'll look at that. Now standards are measures of quality, quantity, and method of goal attainment. Now you have all these goals you want to achieve. Do you have standards in which you want to put in place to do what? To achieve these goals. Now, they are used to measure the value of something, such as the activity, satisfaction received from such an activity. Now, if you have standards on ways on which you want to achieve something, it's going to be very easy for you to do these things. Now, this is my standard. This is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. This is what I accept. This is what I don't accept. This is how much quality I want. This is the quantity I want. And all of these things will help you carry out your goals. Now, if you don't set standards that measures quality or quantity, then you're not ready to let your goals run, because your standards will actually determine how you are able to achieve your goals. Now let's move on. Now we want to look at a classification of resources. Classification of resources. Now we have human resources. Now resources is classified into about three. We have the human resources, then we'll look at some of them as we progress. Now these are resources which exist within an individual. Now this is something every individual has its peculiarity. Now everybody has what their resource is. Now it is always personal to individuals. It is personal to individuals, and now they include knowledge. Everybody do not think alike. They do not think alike. The level of knowledge one person has is quite different from the other. Now they can actually bring something in here, and then you're asked to say something about it, and the other person is saying the other thing, and actually mean the same thing. It means the same thing, but there's a difference because it's personal. We're not made like to agree on some certain things at the same time. We have a different perspective. Now another one is skill. Another human resource is skill. Some people are skillful to do a whole lot of things. They're very creative when it comes to being skillful. Now while some are not skillful to actually do a whole lot of things. Now another one is imagination. Now give somebody or some individuals some things, you will see how wild and inquisitive their imaginations are. They will think broad and bring to life something that you never can even imagine on your own. Now imagination is one thing that is in one human resource that is different from every individual. Now another thing is the energy level. Energy is one resource, human resource, that is different from every individual. Now some persons can go on and on and on and on, and they're still like, I still need more work to do. Meanwhile, some persons are just one and they're down and they can't even move on for the next task. But for some other persons, they can go on and on. So the energy level is different when it has to do with human resource. And also time. Time is one human resource. Now everybody has 24 hours in which we are able to do or achieve some things. Now for some persons, they might not really be able to work within that time frame. So time is one human resource that people or individuals have preference to. Now let's move on. Now we also have the material or non-human resources. Material or non-human resources. Now these are resources that exist outside people but can be controlled or owned and used by the family. Now these are they include the possession, family possessions. Now these are the things the family owns in which they can use to attain some of the goals. Now we talked about family goals. Now family has material things that they can actually, or non-material things, they can actually use to achieve some of the goals that they tend to achieve, or they are set up to achieve. Now if you remember, we talked about the human resource, whereby we talked about these other factors. Now the non-material aspect has to do with the family's resources. Now the family has possession. They can actually use their possessions, such as their houses, their cars, to do to achieve a whole lot of these other goals that they've set up. Let's say the family wants to travel out, and then they look at some of the things they have. They can actually put them up for sale and all of that, and do travel out to get better life. Or they can actually put those things up to see that some needs are actually met in the family. So possessions are these things that the family owns, which they can actually use to attain some of the goals that they are set to do to achieve. Another one is money. Now money is very, very important. Money is very important. It's a very important resource that can be used to buy most things, including other resources. Now when you have money, you can buy a whole lot. You can buy the possession, you can buy cars, you can buy a whole lot of these secondary needs that the family wants and desires. So when money is available, then of course the family would actually achieve a lot of their goals. Now when you set goals, most of these goals that we set, they are they are quite ambiguous. They need money to fund a whole lot of them. So when the family has money, and when the economic status is very okay, of course, why not? You can actually get a whole lot of these other resources to help you achieve the goals and meet the needs of the family as well. Now we also have natural resources. Natural resources. Now these could be air, water, land, plants, animals, and minerals. Now these are always around us. They are found around us when you talk about natural resources. These are things that the family needs, just as we talked about the basic needs. Now the family needs these natural resources too for their achievements in some of the goals that they had put in place to do what? To achieve. Now let's move on to practice some questions on our ExamGuide app. Okay, let's look at this question. Those things which the family desires that are necessary for survival are called. Now, the things that the family needs or desires that are necessary for survival is called what? You have needs, you have wants, you have goods, you have resources, you have goals. Now, we just talked about them. Now, what are the things that the family desires that are necessary for survival? The wants, remember what we said about the wants, they only help to do what? To improve the quality of the life of the family. Goods, get goods and services. Resources, okay, yes, the family needs resources, and it is what it is peculiar to every individual. And then the goals, are they called goals? Goals are the things we tend to do what? Achieve. So those things that the family desires that are necessary for survival are called what? Needs. Good. Now the answer here is A. Needs is what? The things that the family needs that are very, very essential for survival. Let's move on. Now, let's look at this question. The measures of quality, quantity, and method of goal attainment in the family is referred to as A. Profit, B. Standard, C. Resources, D. Value, E. Needs. Now, if you remember quite what we talked about this in our class. Now, measures of quality, quantity, and method of goal attainment in the family is referred to as what? B. Standard. Now, the standard is very, very important. If there are no standards in families, you do not, then you're not ready to actually move on to make plans. So you have to put your standard to what and how you want to achieve these goals. So the right answer there is what? Standard. Standard is the correct answer to that question. Let's move on. Now, the family basic needs include the following except. The family basic needs include the following except A, we have recreation, B, we have food, C, we have housing, D, we have healthcare, E, we have clothing. Now the basic needs or primary needs. Now, which of these is not part of it? That does not include the basic or primary needs of the family. Food, of course, food is a basic need of the family. C, housing is, of course, a basic need what? Of the family. D, healthcare, of course, we need to be healthy to be alive. So healthcare is more or less a basic need of the family. Clothing is a basic need of the family. We need to be clothed, okay? We can't just be without clothes. Now, wanting extra clothing is a secondary need, but clothing is a primary need. So the one answer that is all there that's not the answer is what? Recreation. Recreation is what? A secondary need. It is not basic. The family can actually do without it. It is not a basic need. So the correct answer here is what? Recreation. The family basic needs include the following except recreation. Let's move on. Now, when choosing a house, the following factors must be considered except. Now, when choosing a house, the following factors must be considered except A, electricity, B, water, C, money, D, locality, E, season. Now, when you want to choose a house, we talked about house and the family, what are the things you should look out for? Now, electricity is one thing you should look out for. B, water. Yes, is there water available there? Now, C, money available. Money available is one important factor that you must consider. Another is the locality, the location. We talked about that, where the house is to be situated or where the house is situated. Now, season. Does choosing a family house, how does season affect choosing the family house? Of course, there's no way the season would affect that. So the answer here is E, season. When choosing a house, the following factors must be considered except season. Season is the wrong one here. So the answer is E, season. Okay, let's look at this question. The basic needs of the family include the following except. The basic needs of the family include the following except family car, clothing, healthcare, housing, food. Now, the family needs clothing, the family needs healthcare, the family needs housing, the family needs food. Now, a family car is not a basic need of the family. It's the same thing as what the secondary need. So the family does not need it's not a basic need of the family. The family needs it, but it's not a basic need. It's a secondary need, which depends on the economic status of what the family. Thank you for participating in today's class. You can practice more questions using the ExamGuide app. Now, the app scores and gives a detailed explanation of all the questions at the end of your practice tests. You can learn a particular topic of interest with different modes like the study mode, mock mode, and practice mode. It also has other features that make learning fun. It is a must-have for every serious student. I know you're that serious student. Now you can download the app from www.examguide.com. If you don't have it yet, please do. Now, see you in our next class. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and share the videos to your friends, your family. I'm sure they'll benefit from it as well. Bye for now.